That is who Jamie Kern Lima is. A woman who went from starting this company in her living room all the way to selling it for $1.2 billion, and who has demonstrated what it looks like to tap into your knowing, to just turn those rejections into protection, to keep stepping in an ordered way through her life.
So often in life, the seasons that feel like setbacks are actually setups for what we're called to do.
So what do you mean by the fact that our steps are ordered?
Yeah, I believe, everything in life
Yep.
is happening for us, even when it doesn't make sense.
What does that mean?
So often people feel empty because they feel like, oh, my purpose needs to be some job. It needs to be my job, or it needs to be this grand thing I haven't figured out yet. But for those of us that have accomplished a goal we always dreamed of, we get to it and we're like, oh, this isn't it, right? It's never, in my opinion, purpose is never this big goal necessarily. Purpose is so often when we're able to serve the person we once were, or serve in a way for something we've gone through. And here's what I mean. I think our purpose can be like, oh, wow, I went through a really freaking hard season in my life, and I now am actually realizing I'm born to be a generational cycle breaker in my family. That is an incredible purpose, right? Purpose can be like, oh, I've been having a hard season for a long time, and when I actually just take a minute and say hi to someone else who's lonely, maybe it's like in the coffee line at Starbucks, maybe it's the neighbor down the street, whatever it is, you feel in your gut a sense of fulfillment, like a sense of alignment when you're doing something in your purpose.
You know what else I think is a really important part of your story? It is waitressing.
Yeah.
It's pushing carts in a supermarket.
Yeah.
It's working in the back house of a restaurant. That's
Yes.
my story too. Helping my best friend on her paper route, bussing tables. And I think when you work in retail or you work in a service job
Yeah.
and you feel at times invisible, you start to realize how important it is to treat everybody with respect and kindness.
Yes.
That there is no work that is beneath you. And when you can bring that level of service to the job that you have right now, even if you hate it, even if people treat you like garbage, even if the back of the house is not getting those pancakes out on time and
Yes.
people are angry, if you can bring a sense of grace and service and just humility to those roles, I think it changes how you show up when things start working out, because you don't ever forget what it's like to be treated like shit
Yes.
because somebody was mad that their pancakes weren't out on time.
First of all, if you're out there right now and you think, oh, you have an idea or a way you want to show up in the world, or someone else you want to help, but you think, oh, someone's already done it. Literally, there's only one of you in the entire universe, which by definition means no one has ever done it the way you're going to do it. So when I launched this,
Say that again, Jamie, for the people that are like, whoa, 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 kids, calm down. Wait, Jamie just said something. I was doing my dishes. Say that again. Talk about the fact that this matters.
this is huge, because I think the biggest reason we talk ourselves out of things is we think, oh, someone's already done it.
Yes.
Someone's already done it before, who must be smarter than me or more talented or more whatever it is than me. And what I have learned and then proven, and I want to tell you too about I'm going to get so excited, Mel, because no, when you do this thing, like, don't be shocked then when there's millions and millions of rejections and people don't get it, right? Because it's never been done before, right?
Oh, yes.
Because there's only one of you. There's only one of you doing it the way you're going to do it. But just to recap that, there is literally only one of you in the entire universe, right? And so if you are going to show up to this world authentic, that means whatever you do, if it's authentic to you, it's actually, by definition, it's never been done before, right? And so when you show up that way, don't be surprised if not everyone gets it right away. Or, in my case, all the experts I put on pedestals all said no. That this idea of how I wanted to connect with women, they thought it wouldn't work, and they thought I wouldn't therefore make them any money.
But can I ask you a question
Yeah.
real quick? How did you go from the aha
Yes.
to starting? So what did
Yes.
that look like? Like, because I think, like, if you're in this space where let's just use an example. You've never actually, you don't know the first, you have this thing about catering that you
Yeah.
just can't get it out of your head. You want to do these events, you've never actually done this because you had never
Yes.
done anything with makeup. You had
Yep.
no idea what you were doing.
Yep.
You have an idea and you have an aha moment.
hmm
What was the first thing that you did to start to make this real?
So leaning on that, why I had to do it and why
Mhm.
it felt like it was going to be part of my purpose was a
Mhm.
big thing that helped me actually take the risk, quit my job.
Wait, you
And
quit your job because you had an aha moment?
yeah, it was deep. I was like, if I had
What did it
all,
feel like?
it felt like if I didn't do it, I would wake up the rest of my life with this pain in my gut, this longing, knowing I was created for more. It felt like if I didn't do it, I would have the pain of regret. And
Mm.
if I did do it, I might have the pain of failure and maybe the pain of embarrassment and then maybe the pain of, oh, wow, that doesn't feel like it went how I thought it was. I knew it was this big risk. I
Yeah.
knew I was leaving what I thought was my dream job.
Why did you have to
Um,
quit your job? Just curious.
it was literally from day one, I was all in. Like I dove all in. I knew if I was going to do this, I needed to just go all in on it. I started, I do not recommend this, but I started working like 100-hour weeks from the beginning. I was so freaking passionate about it. Like I couldn't stop thinking about what if I can actually figure this out? What if I can literally, because it became a big
So did you have
dream.
any savings? Like, do you have a little bit of
Very
savings?
little
Because you didn't
savings.
pay yourself for the first 3 years that you did this.
First 3 years. So basically, my husband and I wrote this business plan, right?
Yep.
Quit our jobs, dove all in our living room. We poured all of our savings into it. I thought, Mel, and this is for someone watching us right now. I know this. I thought if I can figure the product out, it's going to be huge.
Right.
And then I realized, like, oh, being an entrepreneur or launching a dream is not always that easy. We put every penny we had into it, and once we actually created a product, and we were scrappy. If you
And
want to
how
know
did you
how,
create a product? Like, are you in your
Yeah.
kitchen buying stuff at the grocery store? Or how does this even work?
Okay, so no, so first, I love that technology is right there, right? So researching how are makeup formulations made, who makes them, what are the FDA regulatory compliance, all the unsexy stuff I know nothing about, just diving into the research phase of how does this happen, and then what I learned is that manufacturers are makeup companies' closest held secrets, right? Like closest held secrets. They won't disclose who they work with, but a
Mm.
lot of these big manufacturers work with all the top brands that you see or a handful of them.
Gotcha.
So I started
So are you saying that all of the brands and top brands that you see are basically manufactured by a handful of companies?
Yes,
Okay,
handful of
got it.
companies, and then some do it in-house as well.
Gotcha.
So what I did was scrappy. I walked into a Sephora. I wrote down the name of every single brand in there, went home. I had no money, right? Cold call every single brand and saying like, oh, I'm looking for a really great manufacturer. Could you let me know who you manufacture? And then they hang up on me. You know what I mean? One after another, after another, after another. And I got this really small brand in a totally different kind of positioning where the girl who answered said, oh, here's who we use. They're in New York City, blah, blah, blah. So that was my first manufacturer. Reached out to them, had a meeting in person, had no money, poured this idea out to them. They took a risk making me samples. And that's how it started, was just really being scrappy and trying to figure it out. All of our money had went into the product development formula and the
Yep.
advisory board of the product.
Yep.
And I thought, okay, now we have a product that works for me, right? This was after hundreds of formula iterations. I thought that was going to be it.
So is this like year 1 or year 2? Like, how long did this take?
Yeah, it took a good first year to
Okay.
get that product. And then what I started doing was sending it to everyone I thought was just going to believe in me instantly. So I sent it to Sephora and Ulta Beauty and all the department stores and all of the online retailers, QVC, which is, live television shopping channel. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be huge. Every single one of them said no after no after no after no. And to your point, it became 3 years of not being able to pay myself, 3 years of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of no's, of crying myself to sleep at night.
Were you and your
Um,
husband like fighting like crazy? Like, you should go back to work. You should, but why do we do that? Like, were you like doing
you
that?
you want to know what it was?
Yeah.
We still believed in it, but we weren't sure how we were going to make it. It was like friends and family that were like, wait, you quit your job? Are you sure you should have quit your job? Or wait, you still haven't made any money? Like it's been 3 years, right? So you hear all of this, the voices get so loud.
Yeah.
The loudest though were my own self-doubt.
And how to truly, in a situation like this, where you are burning through your entire life savings, how do you stay connected to your intuition?
So I think that intuition is like a muscle that we build over time. And I think it's a lifelong journey that, to really learning how to hear it and to trust it. And one of the greatest tools I think is to think back to times in your life where maybe you had this gut feeling to do something and everyone around you said, don't do it. So you listen to them, you didn't trust yourself, and then think about what happened. Right? And then similarly, go back to a time where everyone was like, oh, no way. And you're like, but I love him. I don't think he's lying. I think his phone really did break 5 times every weekend. He didn't disappear, his phone. Like, right, think about like that situation when everyone was telling you something and you didn't listen, or even your gut was telling you, right? And you didn't listen, and you think back to those times and you start to develop pattern recognition of how it felt in moments in your life when you trusted yourself or didn't, and what happened, and you get better attuned to what that feels like.
But imagine if you could go through the rest of today and only make decisions that align with what you truly want. Like, I think that would be a real eye-opening experiment if you were to do that.
What I would say to someone listening right now is look at something in the past that has broken your heart, that has caused you grief, that has been something that you care deeply about, whether it's positive or negative, that you've gone through, something you care deeply about, or maybe pain you've gone through, something you have made it through. I believe often when we go through the hardest times in our life, it's for one of 2 reasons.
What are they?
It is to either equip us with the strength we need to carry the weight of our success that's to come, to carry the weight of our purpose that's to come, or we've gone through these horrible, unspeakable times, things we would never want to happen to us again in our life, because we're actually going to get our greatest source of fulfillment and purpose by one day helping someone else who's going through them.
Why did you not give up?
Yeah. So 2 big things happened. The first was in the form of a crazy, painful rejection. So I thought, Mel, so we got a call from a big potential investor, and very famous for launching all these sort of unknown brands and making them big products we all buy in grocery stores. And, and I thought, and they got a hold of our product. And I thought like, oh, if they invest, then A, I'm not going to go bankrupt. B, like we can leverage their clout to get in these stores that keep telling me no.
Yeah.
Like I had this whole scenario planned out that was like this Pretty Woman moment, right? Where I was like, oh, he's going to save the day. And so we started taking meeting after meeting, and it got down to the final meeting with this huge investment firm. And it was in person. My husband and I actually flew to the meeting, and the head guy was about 3 feet from me.
Yeah.
And his whole team was there, who was awesome. I just presented our whole future product pipeline. And he says, you should be so proud of this product you've created. It's really, really good. But it's a no, we're going to pass on investing in cosmetics. And I was like, okay, can you tell me why? Because I'm so used to hearing no. And I was like, okay, even though really I was devastated. But
well, yeah, because they just led you on and you just went through it. And this was supposed to be the meeting where they're like, let's do this.
And I was so hopeful and I was so desperate.
Yeah.
And he got very quiet and he says to me, do you want to know, I said, can you tell me why? And he says to me, do you want me to be really honest with you? And I said, yes, please. And he got really quiet and he's like 3 feet from me in person. And he says, I just don't think women will buy makeup from someone who looks like you with your body and your weight. And when he said that to me, and this is why it was such a big moment for me, when he said that to me, first of all, a lifetime of body doubt and self-doubt. Like I remember it flooding my body all at once. When I looked at him, I actually felt no anger toward him. I felt like I was almost like staring my own fear straight in the eye. But when he said those words to me, Mel, and this is when we talk about purpose and intuition, he said, I just don't think women will buy makeup for someone who looks like you with your body and your weight. The second he said that, I felt this feeling in my gut. Like I can remember it like it was yesterday, this like strong feeling that said, he's wrong. Like I felt it, right? And I didn't know how I was going to prove it, but I felt that feeling. And what I realized later when I look back at that moment, this dude gave me a no, but God gave me a knowing in that moment. And I believe every one of us has had someone tell us we're not the right fit or no, or you don't have what it takes. Sometimes we're the ones telling ourselves that.
I don't love you anymore.
Yes, right? But if you get still and you learn to hear your knowing, I believe which one you listen to. If you listen to the no, all the no's, all the rejections, all the self-doubt, or you get still and listen to your knowing, whether that's from your own intuition, from your creator, from the universe, whatever speaks to you, but we all have it. And I believe our life and our purpose and our entire destiny comes down to which one we listen to. Do you listen to the no or do you listen to the knowing?
But if you're in the soup and you don't have the vision yet, is there an exercise or something that you would recommend that we all do while we're waiting for that clarity and that epiphany to strike?
Yeah, two things. One, waiting for it to be perfect can be the lowest vibration, biggest excuse, number one reason why people just never try and never get started. So I think it's rare to ever have complete clarity, like this is exactly perfect for it. And that's why, I think two things. I think just taking a step and seeing how it feels is good, tuning into your knowing. I also think, Dean, so you mentioned our friend Dean, who was saying it's a fuzzy target. He was saying something to me recently about, almost like when you're about to aim a bow and arrow and you're about to let go of the arrow, he's like, you can aim and turn it and twist it a few times before you let go of the arrow. It's okay to wait a little bit and just make sure you're going to aim at the right thing. So this year, for example, I've kind of been doing that. I've been saying, how do things feel? I have the gift and blessing of being here with you right now.
I think one of the things that I've learned, and it took me a long time to learn this, is that there is so much success and happiness to go around. And when you lift other people up and you reach out for help, that your success comes faster and it's richer, both emotionally and in terms of monetarily. And I just remembered what I wanted to say, and it's this. And it goes back to purpose. It goes back to that knowing and staying connected to your intention and this unique thing that you have to give to the world. It is not only your responsibility in life to stay connected to your knowing. It is your responsibility to advocate for it because only you have seen it in your heart and mind. Of course, your family says no. They don't even know what you're talking about because they only know the person that you've been in the past. Of course, the investor is going to say no. Why? Because they only know what they know. Your knowing is yours. And you have to stay connected to it, and you have to keep describing it or advocating for it or explaining it to people so that they can see it too. And it's not until you demonstrate what you see in your own heart and mind by continuing to walk toward it, continuing to talk about it, continuing to believe in it, that it will become a reality. And that's why people say no, because it's your knowing, not theirs. And so in a weird way, a ton of no's or a lot of friction or bumping up against things as you're trying and you can't understand, why don't people get this? Why isn't this working? It's because it's your knowing, not theirs.
Yeah.
Amazing.